Welcome to Had a Magical Day, the podcast about Disney parks that's like taking a vacation in the middle of your day. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Had a Magical Day. I'm your host, Scott Otto, and today our guest is Annmarie Ganji. She is a Disney travel agent and a big Disney fan. So welcome to the show, Annmarie.
Thank you, Scott. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being our guest. So let's get started with, we usually like to start with the background of people. Like, you're obviously a huge Disney fan. I know your travel agency does more than just Disney, but I know from meeting you previously that you're a very big Disney fan. So tell us like how you got into Disney. Was it growing up with the movies or the TV show, or what? How did it happen?
No, I'm the youngest of 11.
Mhm.
So growing up, we didn't travel. So I did not take my first Disney trip until my honeymoon, which
Wow.
was in 1987. And I didn't go again until after I had children in, I believe it was 2002. And that's when it hit me and all the magic. And
Wow. So what
I
was
was
it
hooked.
about that trip that really did it for you?
I think it was seeing it through my children's eyes.
Mhm. What were some of your favorite memories from that trip? Like, what was the things that really got the kids excited when you were there?
Oh, I think we all had matching shirts, all five of us. Every day I planned a color, and yeah, well, that was fun for me. I don't think the kids really appreciated it that much, but we at the time we stayed at the Contemporary, so we were nice and close to Magic Kingdom. There was let's see, Hollywood Studios was MGM back there. I don't think we did much. I don't even remember going to MGM. I wasn't a fan back then. But we did
Well, there
I
wasn't as
remember
much to
Animal
do back then there.
no Magic Kingdom, of course, and Animal Kingdom, and Epcot. Wasn't a fan of Epcot. I'm more of a fan now,
Mhm.
more so with all the festivals. I really enjoy that.
Sure. Well, that's really been the big draw for Epcot now. Yeah, like you, I was disappointed when it first opened. I was a big geek. My friend had told me about it long before it opened. Oh, this experimental prototype city of tomorrow. It's going to be this, you're going to live in the future when you go there or whatever. And it was kind of a disappointment because it really wasn't that futuristic. It had a couple of nice exhibits about the future, but mostly it was just kind of a thing. But now like,
Yeah, yeah,
they have more rides, and now they have all the festivals, which are great.
yeah. Really enjoy the festivals.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, just because I had this conversation with family because we did our first big family trip for my 5-year-old great nephew. And like, you took the first trip with the kids right to the Contemporary, like you're kind of starting out at the top. Was there any concern like you were setting the bar high for the kids for future trips?
Not really. The reason why we went to the Contemporary, excuse me, is because we were a family of five.
Hmm.
So you had to, you couldn't do a value back then. And I don't remember
Oh.
why we chose a Contemporary, probably due to the location. But yeah, the Contemporary was just okay. We were in the garden wing. We weren't in the tower, and I think that
Mhm.
probably makes the difference. But still, the location is great.
The location is obviously great and a big selling point for that. And like you, yeah, first time I stayed there, I was in the garden wing. And then
Me too. Yeah,
the second time was in the tower. And yeah, it does make a
yeah,
difference.
yeah. Yeah, a theme park view preferred.
Yes. Well, I haven't had that yet. I was still in the tower. We were facing the other way. But so that was 2002. You had a great time. You became a big Disney Parks fan. But when did you start doing the travel as your business?
So right after that trip, I decided I really enjoyed Disney. I wanted to go again. So I joined the AOL Disney message boards. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
And I became friends with a group of women, and we all bonded over our love for Disney. And eventually the message boards disbanded, and we moved on to an email group, and we all talk daily up to this day. And we all share our love for Disney. Some of us travel there more than others.
Mhm.
And over the years, one of my friends from that group, Robin, who is the owner of Vacations with Character, she said, Annmarie, 2016, she said, Annmarie, you know so much and you help everyone plan. You really should come to work with me. So I did.
Oh, wow. You might have asked what you were doing before that for work.
I was working at the family owned bowling center,
Oh, okay.
and I currently work at the public library. So I do both.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. So you started that, would say 2016? You started?
2016. So it's been 6 years. And, in the travel agency business, you need to create a clientele. So, it
Mhm.
starts out slow and make, you get clients and hopefully they return and they pass your name along. And here we are.
So, and so in the last like 7 years, like how many times have you been to Disney between
I
work
did
and
kind of,
your own
I did
personal
kind of make
events?
a list. Um, let's see, how many times here? I think 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. I was going once every year or so,
Mhm.
but then 2020 and COVID hit,
Right.
and of course the kids were grown, so I was able to travel more, my solo or with my husband, and we took, well, this past year, last year it was four
Wow.
times in a year. But Disney has been very, very good to us.
That's good. So tell us a little bit about so what you do for people when you plan these trips and what target audiences do you have? Like we have, there are a lot of people who, like myself, we know a lot about Disney, but there are probably little things that you have that I couldn't get otherwise or wouldn't know about. And then also what you do just for the beginner person going to Disney for the first time.
Well, Disney has changed so much, and a
Mhm.
lot of it is due to COVID. But the past 10 years, it's changed a lot. But with COVID, everything changed, and now we have park reservations, and the virtual queues, the boarding groups, and people just don't know that, and it's a bit complicated for your average traveler. So, I try and teach them how to do these things, how to navigate the park. They do not pay me. Travel agents are paid by commission through Disney.
Mhm.
And I can help a traveler as much or as little as they like. So a new traveler, I supply them with a lot of information,
Mhm.
but I don't want to overwhelm them. So I kind of take their hand
Yeah.
and we walk through it at their pace.
Now, when you said you kind of explained to them how everything works, especially now with the phone, do you do that before the trip, obviously, or do you do it when they
Um,
arrive at the park? Or,
Before, during, and after. Oh,
yeah.
before they arrive at the park, definitely.
Mm.
It's important to know some of these things. And the park reservations need to be made right away. 60 days before travel is when your dining window opens. So ahead of that, we discuss what they'd like, if they would like to do character meals. And so I book for them. Some clients are more seasoned and they like to book their own dining, and that's
Mhm.
fine. Or sometimes they'll reach out to me and say, I just can't get this particular Topolino's Terrace breakfast is the most popular, I believe, right now. They just can't get it. But I have some tricks up my sleeve, and I have some paid apps that help me watch for openings, so I can
Mhm.
grab them as soon as they open. So, and I've
Okay.
had good luck with that.
So those are openings that happen like after the 60-day window where things might have been booked and
Yes.
somebody
Yeah.
cancels. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a nice skill to have. Or
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's when I get that alert and then you get to get right on and grab it for a client. But I've also been in touch with clients while they're there. If they're having issues, if they're having trouble, or if they need help getting the virtual queue, I'll do that for them the morning of Hollywood Studios when it was Rise of the Resistance
Mhm.
and Remy at Epcot. I would get them virtual queues for Remy. And now we have Guardians of the Galaxy in Epcot.
Yes. And
Yeah,
Tron.
Epcot.
Is Tron going to do that too?
Yes, Tron is going to
Yeah.
be virtual queue as well.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if once Tron opens, which is April 4th, in their virtual queue, if they will drop the virtual queue over at Guardians. So that's a wait and see. We'll have to see what
Mhm.
happens with that.
Yes, it has gotten at least easier in my experience to get the Guardians of the Galaxy queue now. I noticed we went in August, could not get it. And we had like 7 people, we had several people trying to get it. And then I went in September, like a month later, and I was able to get it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It sounds like from what you're saying that the services you offer actually be great for anybody because I'm like a hardcore traveler And because this was my great nephew's first trip, like I spent so much time planning that trip, and it was such a head. And I had, a niece and nephew were also big Disney people, and we like for the 60-day window for the restaurants, I had a spreadsheet. We split it up between the three of us to all try to get it.
There you go.
You could have saved me so much stress and headache to just plan the trip, and I could have relaxed for months before the trip.
For me, the planning is half the fun of the trip, and that's why I went on to do what I'm doing now for other people, because I just enjoy doing it.
Yes, I certainly enjoyed doing it more before the whole reservation system and the things with the, it was easier when you didn't have all that, and I could just plan like special treats for the family by doing one of the tours or something like that, signing up for one of those extras.
Yeah, and surprise them.
Yes, yes.
Have you done the fireworks dessert parties?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah, those are a nice treat.
Yeah, and that's not that expensive either. It's a really kind of affordable treat that's, I think, I recommend to people. In fact, I just had a friend and his wife and their daughter just went down there and they did that based on my recommendations. So they had a good time. Yeah, what are some of your favorite things to do down there? What kind of events do you recommend? I noticed you mentioned Topolino. I just want to make clear for people that you're specifically talking about the character breakfast there. That is the best character breakfast at Disney.
Yes, were you able to go?
We went to Topolino's for dinner. We didn't go for the
dinner.
Character.
Well, dinner's very nice as well, but it's not character.
Yes.
But the character breakfast, I go every time I go to Disney. We go at least once. It's a great meal and it's a great character interaction.
Yes, and for everybody, that's at the Riviera Hotel.
Yes, which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yes,
beautiful, and right on the Skyliner.
Skyliner, yeah. Yeah, we were lucky enough. We had the 4 days, 3 nights there that we won at the D23 conference.
Nice.
Yeah, and since we had just been in August, we mostly just enjoyed the hotel. We hung out by the pool. We just kind of. It's a very nice place. It's very relaxing, which is odd to say about Disney, but it was really nice.
It is. It's you don't feel like you're in Disney. It's a beautiful resort. If you were to ask what my favorite resorts were, I would have to say either Riviera or Animal Kingdom Lodge, Savannah View.
Yes, I've never been. I've heard about that. It sounds spectacular.
I've stayed a couple of times. In the past 3 times I've stayed at one of the 1-bedroom villas, which are amazing. Amazing.
You wake up and you can see the animals all out there.
Every morning we sat out there and had our coffee, and it was great.
So then you don't need to go on the safari ride at that point.
I'd still go on the safari. So my favorite, I think right now would be the Guardians, but it's Guardians of the Galaxy. That's, can be, you can't just walk on. You have to make a plan, either buy the individual lightning lane or get a virtual queue or do both, which is what I did. And I think Epcot with the festivals is probably a big draw. Yes. Magic Kingdom fireworks, love fireworks. So that's, one of the top things.
What are your thoughts on, did they just bring back Wishes, or
I wish they would bring back Wishes. They're bringing back Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever After, okay.
Which I loved.
Yes.
But I didn't think, when it first came out, I didn't think I would love it as much as I loved Wishes. But over time, you get used to it and you love it for what it is. But it's going to be a little bit different, Happily Ever After. I believe similar music, but a little bit different than what it was before.
What was the most recent one that a lot of people didn't seem to like, or at least didn't like as much as the previous?
Now I'm having a mental block. Happily Ever After and Enchantment. Yeah, that was made a big uproar when that came out. And I grew to enjoy it.
Yeah, it was nice. The first night we were there in August, I rented a boat and we just watched it from the water. And for most of the people, they hadn't been there my 5-year-old had never been there, but my sister and her family hadn't been there in like 10 years. And my niece and I hadn't been there in like 30 years. But so they loved it. Disney's fireworks are spectacular. You're just comparing it to some impossible standard that, that you remember from, 10, 15 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, we get a kind of snobby about our
Yeah.
fireworks, those of us who have gone a few times.
Yeah. Well, people love Disney, so they gravitate to the best of the best, and then when it changes it all, then they get really upset.
Yeah, yeah, we don't like change.
Yeah, exactly.
But bringing up the individual lightning lanes and the lightning lane and the Genie Plus,
Mm.
uh, that that throws people for a loop. And it's another thing I can help them with, or at least help understand it.
Mhm. Yeah, what do you do? I'm wondering, like, what do you do for people who aren't good with phones or maybe don't even have a phone? What do you do for those folks?
I haven't come across that yet.
Okay.
I did have one person who had difficulty. Their phone was too old.
Mhm.
Um, but he did okay. I was able to get him his boarding group. I believe it was for Remy at the time,
Mhm.
because he just couldn't do it on his phone. So I did it for him, and I don't mind. I get up at 7 a.m. Actually, 6:30 because we want to start the process at 6:45 to get that 7 a.m. boarding group. It's like
Also,
winning the lottery when we get it. So it's
it's
a good
exciting,
feeling.
right?
Hmm.
I think also if you don't have a phone, as long as you get a profile set up, like on the Disney page, where somebody else can make your reservations for you, right?
Park reservations.
Yeah.
Park reservations are a little tricky because Disney wants you to do it yourself because you have to sign away all these waivers. But yeah, you could do it. You could do it from your home computer. You don't have to do it from the phone. But when you're in the parks, having a phone is really beneficial.
Oh yeah. If nothing else, just for even keeping in touch with your group in case you get separated, you know.
That too. But then our phones die, so you need to bring a
Battery. Yeah,
power bank to make sure you recharge halfway through the day.
exactly. That's always a good tip. What other good tips do you have for people who are in the park to make it a little easier? You know, things like bringing water or things like that.
Bring water. They will give you free water and ice at any of the stands, any of the restaurants. Um, I like to tell people to pack their patience
Hmm.
and take a break. I think it's important to take a break if you can. If you're staying on property, it's easier than if you're off property. Go back after lunch, lay down, put your feet up, maybe go for a swim, and depending on the time of year, just cool off, and then
Hmm.
maybe go back out later as the sun's going down and enjoy the evening. It's much more comfortable.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I concur 100%. I and my niece in particular, we were kind of fanatics about getting our money's worth and going from morning
Commando.
sun up to sundown. And then finally, like 10 years ago, I was like, this is crazy, you know. And when you do that, you take it and you're like, because these are beautiful hotels. These are nice hotels. They have a lot of nice amenities. The pools are always nice. It's so worth it to come back in the middle of the day, take that break, especially with younger kids, because they get cranky, you
Hmm.
know, they'll stay out there because they
Yeah, they're
find
getting up early, they're staying
yeah,
up late, and they're
but
running.
right,
Yeah.
and then they're burnt out after a couple of days. So it's better to
Hmm.
take the time in the middle of the day and enjoy what you paid for. You paid for that hotel, you know, and they
Hmm. Yeah, take advantage of the amenities.
yeah.
Um, let's see what else. Oh, Memory Maker.
Mhm.
I think
That's
it's
the
totally
all the
worth it.
photos that you get. Is that yeah.
Hmm. Yep, the Photo Pass Memory Maker covers your photos for your entire stay. Includes photos you've taken on the rides. Are included any photos you're taken with the photographers in front of the castle, for example. I think that's totally worth it.
Yes, and for people who don't know, like those photographers are everywhere. You can
Yeah.
flag a photographer down almost anywhere in the park and have them take a picture
Hmm.
of your family. Yeah, and you just scan your
I
magic band and it shows up.
I love the Zoom photos. Have you seen those, Scott?
No.
The Zoom photos. They have one in each park, and it starts from. It's usually at the top of a building somewhere, and it zooms into your group and then zooms back out. It's really cool.
Oh wow. So how do
Yeah,
you go about getting that? It doesn't do it automatically. You have to go find a photographer
you
for
have
that.
to find the photographer. You have to know where they are.
Okay.
So
I
yeah, and that's another
imagine.
hint. I'll send to a client. Hey, swing by over here. This is where they're hiding.
Ah, okay. I thought they might be in obvious places. Like you think when you enter most of these places, there's usually a high building at some point. There's always a high point for you to look at, and you'd think they'd be up there somewhere. But
Yeah,
you have some secrets. That's good to know. All
yeah.
right.
The one in Animal Kingdom's really pretty hidden.
Hmm.
I didn't even know that area was there over by Expedition Everest. There's a
Mhm.
little set of stairs that you would go up, and there's a little sign there. It's pretty, it doesn't stick out much.
Oh,
Magic Kingdom, it's to the right of the castle as you're walking over to Tomorrowland.
mhm.
And I think Hollywood Studios moves around a bit.
Okay. So
And
we don't
then
want you
I
to give
think,
away all your secrets, Annmarie.
I know, right?
We haven't mentioned the name of your company. Why don't you mention?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Vacations with Character.
All
We're
right.
based out of Georgia.
And they can find that online at,
Vacationswithcharacter.com.
there you go. It's pretty easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're a Disney podcast, so we'll say you do more than Disney. So why don't you tell us about some of the other places you do?
Oh, I just booked an all-inclusive at Sandals. It's going to be amazing for my client.
Where, what island is it? There's lots of sandals, right?
Barbados
Oh, okay.
in the next in April. So it's a short planned trip. It was very quick. It's gonna Sandals is amazing.
Mm.
I'm big on Universal, but Universal doesn't still love Disney more than Universal. Universal doesn't have the magic, but they have Harry Potter, so that's cool.
I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy, but when I went there, they did a fantastic job with that. That's the closest thing to Disney that I've seen outside of Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, their Harry Potter area is really cool. Have you done the Velocicoaster?
No.
That's intense. I've done it a couple of times. The first time I'm like, I can't go back on that right away. So of course they have the more intense rides.
Yes,
But
well, they have
Disney's
lots of those.
catching up. Disney's catching up with Tron and Guardians.
Mhm.
And cruising. I book a lot of cruises. We just got back. I put together a group going through the Panama Canal.
Oh,
It was
wow.
15 nights. We flew out to LA. Some of us flew out a few days early, and then we boarded the ship and cruised through the Mexican Riviera, through the Panama Canal, and back up to Miami.
Oh, nice. So from
It was,
LA
it
to
was
Miami via the canal.
yeah, it was amazing. I visited some ports I'd never thought I would visit in my lifetime. So that was cool. And the Panama Canal is amazing.
Hmm. That's fantastic. So, and again, you said that for the Disney stuff, you work on commission.
We work on commission for pretty much everything,
Mhm.
for cruises, Universal,
Okay.
Disney. It does. Travel agents should be free service to all guests. If they charge you, that's unusual.
Mhm. All right. So good to know. Like some people might have, when I started talking, and we talked about a Disney travel agent, they might assume, oh, I'm going to have to pay extra for
Mhm.
that. But it's just the,
There are people that call themselves planners out there
Mhm.
that may charge, but a true travel agent won't do that.
Well, that's great to
Or I
know.
should say a good travel agent wouldn't
And
do
you
that.
are a good travel agent. So before we wrap up, why don't you give us like your perfect day at Walt Disney World? Like, what would you do if you had to do, you had one day to just do your favorite
One
thing?
day to just
Yeah.
fly there and
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom. You just
Mhm.
gotta go Magic Kingdom the whole day. Maybe take a nap somewhere. I'd have to find somewhere to hide and take a nap. But Magic Kingdom, uh, gosh, maybe breakfast at Cinderella's Castle, have some mimosas, uh, catch all the parades. Mickey's Filler Magic is my favorite. Watch
Oh,
that a few times. Hang around for the parade, then hang around for the fireworks. That would be my day. Just a Magic Kingdom day.
okay. Excellent. Fireworks are always a good way to end the evening at the Magic Kingdom. So you go a lot, and I know you're up on events. What are some cool things coming up in the next few months at Disney? I know right now there's the Festival of the Arts. Is that Epcot?
Festival of the Arts, and then we're going to be having Flower and Garden.
When does that start roughly?
Um, I'm not exactly sure the start date, but I will be there beginning of May, and I know it will be going on during that
Okay.
period. I believe Food and Wine usually starts around July. It
Mhm.
starts much earlier than it used to.
Yeah.
It's
That's so
always, I think
popular.
there's
Yeah.
only 1 week in between each festival.
Yeah.
Uh, and of course, Tron opening.
Right, you
in the
said
museum.
April 4th?
Yes, 4/4. And let's see what else. Harmonious at Epcot is going away. I believe they're bringing back Epcot Forever, but they may tweak it.
Mhm.
I enjoyed Harmonious at first, because it's so big and huge,
Yeah,
but it was a pretty cool presentation.
yes.
Let's see what else. And then the new Happily Ever After coming back is great. I'm trying to think park to park. That's all that's coming to me.
That's a lot. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good update for folks. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our show. Thank you very much
Excellent.
for joining us.
Thank you,
And
Scott.
if you're open to it, love to have you come back in the future with updates of things,
Sure.
give us a
Well,
scoop.
I'd love to.
All
I
right.
love to talk. If I'm not in Disney, I love to talk about Disney.
All right. There you go. All right. So that wraps up our episode with Disney Travel Agent Annmarie Ganji. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you
See you real
real
soon.
soon.